sharing some incentives with you. We got 4 incentives we want to share. I'll kick us off. I'm Mark Rogers. I lead our business credits and incentives group here at Eide out of Chicago, and I'll talk first about the energy incentive program. It's top of mind. I'll then hand it off to Crystal. Crystal's out of Green Bay. She'll talk about the utility sales tax exemption. Then we'll go across the map down to Orlando. Matt will talk about research and development. And then Jesse on the West Coast will wrap us up and talk about the employee retention credit. So let's dig into the energy incentive program. Okay, we'll start very macro level on the climate economy. It's a coined term, and whenever you inject billions and trillions of dollars into something, you create an economy. In this case, it's the climate economy. Back in the summer of last year, Biden and Manchin shook hands and they pushed through the Inflation Reduction Act, which has very little to do, I'm sure you know this by this point, reducing any inflation, but everything to do with energy. It's one big energy bill. At the time, the CBO penciled it out at $374 billion will be given out in goodies over the next 10 years. Many of these incentives, there's about 24 of them, 24, were uncapped, which means the more you ask, the more you get. And before you ask, you got to know what it is you're asking for. And we'll touch on that in the next 15 minutes. Well, because it was uncapped, or many of these things were uncapped, Goldman Sachs came out with an article a couple months ago that said, we think, CBO, you're being conservative. We think a lot of people are going to ask. And the number is now closer to 1.2 trillion. So whatever the number is, 374 billion, 1.2 trillion over 10 years, it's up to us and those on the call to educate and to ask for these incentives. So Eide response to the 24 incentives in the IRA and the climate economy in general was to create what we call the Energy Incentive Program, where we take a look at your construction plans, at your business plans, at your strategy, your tax, at your cash flow, at your funding. We look at the 1,000 pages of legislation and guidance, historical on both those things we're waiting on, and we look to match up. We try to match up as many of the 24 as possible. You could stack them all on top of each other. I would say 90% of the time when we get on a discovery call with a client and we start trying to match things up, these 3 are coming up quite a bit. So we're going to focus on these 3, but know that the slide I showed earlier with the bubbles, it should be included in your vetting. We went over 4 things: energy incentive program, utility sales tax exemption, research and development, employee retention credit. Hopefully 1, 2, 3, 4 of those things hit for you. I would say 2 messages and two pieces of advice we give all our clients. One is don't dismiss anything. If you think, or if someone tells you you don't qualify, I would make sure you consult with us first. And the second thing is, a lot of these things are stackable.